So this is what my interface looks like. I have my bindings up here. Buffs are over here. I have the DPS meter here. I need a threat meter still. Um, my communications are over here in the bottom left, and then I have, I guess this should, well, it's not the combat log, it's just loot, trade, whatever. This would populate with all the like bullshit greens that drop in dungeons and shit. And then I have like this bar that never changes, so this is where I stack my like professions and whatnot. But um, oh, I have one bag is part of ElvUI as well. So the add-ons that I'm using, I guess I should show you the actual interface first. I have nameplates on, right? And this text will change based upon the level difficulty. So like it's gray because this is a gray, and I have it reflected in Luna as well. Yellow is stuff that's in your level range. Green is like lower, obviously, and then orange and red will reflect as well. The important part is, hopefully he doesn't hit it. God damn it. Fuck you. Let me run over here. So my list of add-ons, ElvUI kind of takes over your whole interface, so everything looks elvish. Um, Theorycraft is supposed to give you like a more expanded tooltip. It doesn't appear to be working right now, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Abar Classic, you'll see in a second, is a swing timer. This doesn't really do anything useful. Classic aura durations is something you're about to see. Classic cast bars, I don't think you'll see because I'm not going to be fighting any casters. Luna unit frames obviously is important, and then Nug running you'll see, real mob health you're going to see, and ElvUI Classic obviously is like the majority of the things on my stuff. So this nameplate is in Elv. This is not a Luna frame property. That nameplate is something I've configured in ElvUI. So this is A-bars, a swing timer. This targeting thing, showing you what you're currently targeting relative to like other nameplates, is also in ElvUI. But the debuffs, you can see Luna has the debuff icon here with the countdown timer, as well as ElvUI doing it on the nameplate. This bar is from Nug running. No. So, if you're a caster, I don't think Nug running would be particularly useful to you, because if you're at max range, you're not going to see a nameplate on enemies anyway. But again, to clarify, this is Nug running, this is ElvUI, and this is Luna. The Luna is the unit frames, obviously. And then like your buffs and shit, you have durations and all that on the Luna unit frame itself. That's not a part of Elv. And like your target will have it too, along with debuffs. I wish any of them apply to debuff on me so you could see it, but I have them set to appear above my unit frame, and then I think by default they also appear like here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor when I'm recording, but it's to the bottom left of the minimap. So the way that I configured that is in ElvUI. I have, in general, I did auto scaling so that everything fits to your monitor. And then action bars is this part up here. I copied, like imported these settings from a different player, so you might have to like drag them around. I don't think that anybody's going to position them at the top of the screen like I did. But your key bindings are here in keybind mode under general options. And then that would allow you to just hover over the square and press the keybind you want it bound to. Bags, I didn't really touch this. This is just the one bag thing, and I'm just using default buffs and debuffs. I have this enabled so that you can see the buffs and debuffs above the nameplates. So moving on to nameplates, this is the important one. I had this enabled in general, right? And then the important part is, like, I have my player nameplate disabled because I don't think it makes sense. You have your own unit frame. I don't think you need to see your own nameplate. I have target enabled, and then I don't really understand why this doesn't work. I don't seem to, I think that your Blizzard settings override this, that if you have friendly player nameplates turned off in your interface options, that ElvUI isn't gonna help you at all. And then enemy player and enemy NPC. If there were an alliance running around, you could see it, but alas, they are not here. So enemy NPC is enabled, and then each of these is its own like subsection. I have the health enabled. You can do heal prediction and text. Like if I turned it off, it would just be like a bar with no information inside of it. And then you can format that text with a bunch of options. So I'm just doing health percentage. And then you can put its position, whether it's like the hugging the left or the right or center or whatever. And then power is mana, rage, or energy or whatever. And I don't think that this really works on mobs. I know it works on players, but I just have it enabled so that you can see like in a nameplate, the percentage of mana remaining on like a caster that you're fighting or whatever. And then cast bars are enabled. I'm going to show you like if I'm targeting someone and I start to heal, like you have the little cast bar. Well, that's in Luna, but it's the same thing for nameplates. And then the buffs and debuffs. That's like I was showing you. That's this. If you don't want to see that icon, that's where you would disable it. Is in that section, and I can't open it again while I'm in combat, so I have to kill this thing. Okay. Portraits, probably not useful in nameplates. I feel like that would take up a whole lot of screen real estate, so I don't do that. I have a level and name, like you can see difficulty color I put in the level and the name as well. And then like their elite icons, you can see that they're elites. I think you saw that in the RFC video. And then PvP indicator and all that shit. So more useful for melee, I think. I'm not anticipating that as like a caster sitting at max range that nameplates are going to be particularly useful, but there it is. And then tooltip, you can customize the way that this is anchored, right? Like you can drag the offset over to the left or right so that it's maybe not necessarily into the center. Or if you wanted to actually occlude the unit itself so that the tooltip is like above or over top of like the zebra. That's all in here. I've disabled pretty much everything other than like the target info and guild ranks. If you tooltip over, I guess I could do it to myself somehow. Is that possible? Yeah, so you can see the guild they're in and the rank they have or whatever. But some of this other stuff is like the NPC ID. I don't care what their NPC ID is, and similarly, I don't care what the spell ID is. Yeah, I don't foresee a situation in which you'd use that. The font settings are in there. I didn't fuck with any of this. And then the unit frames I have disabled because I'm using Luna unit frames. So Luna looks like, oh, and like you can see this one was red and not yellow because this is a hostile entity and not a neutral entity. So I have it enabled, and then you have like scaling and what to anchor it to and blah blah blah. Power bar, cast bar. This looks like very similar to, I think they might actually be developed by the same people, that it looks very similar to ElvUI. Essentially all that I'm doing is I dragged these into a position where it's not occluding my combat text, right? Like I can still see damage when he starts to hit me. Yeah, like the flow of combat text here isn't occluded by my unit frames, so I can see me and then whoever I'm targeting, typically an enemy or whoever, and then their target of target. Luna also has target of target of target, but I think at that point it's too many degrees removed that you wouldn't give a shit. So I just have this stuff on with all the timers enabled, and the buffs and debuffs, debuffs above, buffs below, and those all work with the timers as you saw. I think I can do, yeah, like you'll see the time remaining because it's a friendly buff, and then healing prediction is enabled as well. So I don't think that there is anything else in here that I needed to talk about. Incoming heals. I'm not sure what empty bar does. The cast bar you kind of saw. And then like your party and like the pet and all that stuff, all those settings are in here. And this has text formatting as well, I believe. Although I'm not seeing it. That might only be in ElvUI. Oh, nope, there's the tags. Yeah, so down here in the tags section is where you can do, like you could put difficulty color, or I actually think it's called level color in, the tags are called different things in Luna and Elv, so you'd have to play with it a little bit, but you can still format the text in Luna unit frames. Like this one's very long. Yeah, so those are the two that I recommend the most, I guess. Luna and Elv, and then... Oh, WIM is a Whisper Instant Messenger, just because at the time I didn't have this set up correctly, that I've now parsed this out into Party, Raid, Guild, and then Dishwasher Chat. So back when it was just all one chat window, when people would try to talk to you in like Party Chat or try to whisper you or something, it'd get lost in the high traffic hell that is Guild Chat. So WIM by default, see if I can whisper anybody. It's this little window that it will hide when you get into combat, so like if he whispers me back, it'll pop up here, and then when I go smack this thing, it goes away. And then once I get out of combat, it will come back, and you can talk in here. So that was more reliable means of communication for me at the time. You can still break whispers into a different group down here, but I don't see the point in having a dozen different persistent whisper menus when like you can just put it there. Real mob health, that was the one that's like trying to predict how much HP a mob has, and that will display in Luna unit frames. I don't have it set up to do it on the nameplate in Elv because I'm just doing percentages in there. It looks kind of wonky trying to do it in the nameplate, and also it seems less useful that like you're really looking for that information here and not on the nameplate. Nug running, important, get it. Doesn't seem to work for warrior abilities, I'm not really sure why. Details is the DPS meter, and then I couldn't show you the cast bars because these are beasts and they don't cast. Avar Classic was the swing timer, I showed you guys that. And I haven't really had a chance to use trinket menu yet. I haven't fucked with it because I have no trinkets. I don't see the point. But yeah, very, very short list. Takes some obsession to kind of get it set up correctly, but I really like this UI just because it's easy for me to see what's going on, what buffs are applied or whatever. And I didn't show you this as well. I have it set to highlight when I have aggro, so like I don't know if you can see it in the video. There's a very subtle glow on my unit frame because I have aggro, and then once it fades, it just goes back to dull. I'm gonna get a threat meter anyway because it's still important, but for now, that's how I know that I'm getting hit. And I think that is all. Yeah, I just really like Elv. Oh, and this is, my map's fucked up for whatever reason. My shit looks like this instead of the stuff that you've seen like Eric post in Discord.